Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to War Room. We're going to talk more about Antifa and more about what's going to happen on Tuesday night, but let's get us there. We're going to give you a snapshot now, bring in one of the smartest guys around to actually walk you through some numbers. Richard Barris is a very well-known, not just pollster, but really a data analytics guy that can really get in back of where the numbers are. Was one of the few guys that really had his hands around 2016, he and the guys at Susquehanna. And one of the reasons is I think that they really know how to get in back of the numbers and understand how it's so tough to ask these questions and you're really dealing with imperfect information. Richard, I want to start off by asking, I think you've got some breaking news this morning. You putting up a new poll or about to put up a new poll in Wisconsin?
It just went up. We just did the Badger State after Michigan, Pennsylvania. It's close. It's very close. First, thanks for having me. But we do have, it's lightly blue on the map, but with a caveat, there are some Northeastern, it's a live tracking poll, so there are some Northeastern responses that are still going to come in. They look favorable to the president. It's probably going to close more.
Okay, hang on for a second. You're confusing me. And guys, I want you guys to jump in here as we do this. I don't want to hog the mic. But I just saw the other day in the Bezos, Amazon, Washington Post, a Washington Post ABC poll that had the president down 17 points. So, Richard Barris, how do you come out 72 hours, 48 hours later, and I think your poll shows the president down 3 points in Wisconsin?
It's just, if you round, it's about 2. But, yeah, I mean, on the 10th of percentage points, which we do here, it's 2.7. So it's very close.
Okay, 2.7, and that's what I heard, 2.7. But it's closing. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, your last poll in the Badger State was closer to 6. The president was down. So the president is closing, according to Richard Barris, in Wisconsin?
Yeah, in September, we conducted 6 Rust Belt polls for the Epoch Times. One was in Wisconsin. That was about a 6-point Biden lead. You know, some of this is just about trying to model the electorate and trying to find out who's really going to turn out. It's going to be a high turnout election, but I think, you know, I don't know what those guys did over there, but that would be a historic, a 7-point margin for a candidate like against an incumbent president. We just aren't finding the same kind of numbers. I suspect, looking at, and I did glance at what they did, but I try at this time in this period not to get into other people's work too much. Just look at my own. I got to keep my head clear. And I suspect what they did, Steve, was pack a bunch of, Democrats in the independent sample, widen out the Democrats. And if you look at the voter file, Wisconsin has changed a lot since the era of Barack Obama.
Let's go through the building blocks of how the audience. One of the things here, we're not here to entertain people. We're really here to give access.
Yeah, and Richard, one thing that I've always impressed me about your work is your ability to get a wider geographic distribution in these states than anyone that I've seen in these fields.
In 2016,
how do you do it?
Yeah, in 2016, one of the biggest mistakes that pollsters made, and some of them corrected, I have to give some of them credit, but education, right? So if you know what the voter file looks like and you have a pretty good idea of the demographics of a particular state, you got to make sure that you're reaching a representative audience for each subgroup. And the problem we're having, and I think, anybody who's serious will tell you, in the media, it seems like they have a bit of a God complex, but we all know that there are a lot of challenges reaching certain groups of people. And we do different modes to reach different groups because each group responds to these modes at different rates. If you call live caller, you're going to reach more metro populations than the rural guy who got off of work at 6:30. He doesn't want to take 30 minutes to talk to a live caller. He wants to pop in some, something to eat, sit in the chair, watch his favorite show, and the day starts all over again for him. He doesn't want to take 25 minutes to talk to somebody who may or may not, be judgy on him.
Do you think that this falls into this mythical hidden Trump vote? Is that what you're alluding to, that you think there is this missing Trump vote because blue-collar, either Democrats or working class Republicans just don't want to talk to pollsters and they're afraid of being identified as a Trump supporter?
Non-response bias is a big problem now. It is, and it's lopsided. So we know who we're calling. We know who we're sending an invitation to when we try to, email them or whatever it may be, whichever mode we're using to reach a panel. There are people who are in certain groups that can't wait to talk to you, right? And those are liberal-leaning groups, women, people with higher educations, post-grads, even graduates, even undergraduates. They can't wait to talk to you, and they'll spend 20, 30 minutes. They'll love giving you their opinion. But some of these other groups just don't, and they're not interested. If there is a big polling miss this cycle, and I think that's really not an if, I think it's a when. The question is how big. If and when there is, we asked a series of questions for about 2 months now to have some answers, basically. Because after 2016, there weren't a lot of people with answers. So we did this intentionally this time. And one of the questions we've been asking people is how comfortable they are talking to different groups of people, friends, families, coworkers, neighbors, strangers, and pollsters. And the numbers are stunning. And we have them up on Big Data Poll on where the map is. The numbers are incredible. When you have 3 in 10, 4 in 10 people telling you they're very uncomfortable or somewhat uncomfortable being truthful when a pollster talks to them, that's a problem. I mean, from any serious statistician's point of view, that's a serious problem.
Do you think that's endemic because I got to go back to the 17 point. That's clearly part of psychological warfare. I mean, they know what they're doing. I think the breakdown they had, it was 38% Democrat, 28% Republicans, and people said the independents were very weighted to the Democrats. They know it. ABC News and the Washington Post are very sophisticated people. They put at that 17 to suppress. That's a voter suppression tool, is it not, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get my hands on their data set and see what they did, because there's really no explanation. And in this industry, there is such a thing as getting bad data, and a pollster has to be responsible with that when they get it. There are polls out there people, they conduct and then don't release because it's just not responsible. They know maybe sometimes the non-response bias was too high. I suspect a lot of people in the media have this problem. There's just no incentive to do the right thing. In fact, it's the opposite. CNN was not a bad pollster. ORC's pollster was not a bad pollster in 2016, but they got rid of them. So now they have somebody else who's got a even further left leaning bias in their polling results. And Gillum plus 12 was nowhere near reality in 2018. That was never going to happen. Just like plus 17 Biden in Wisconsin it's ludicrous on its face. And I just tweeted out a little bit.
You were one of the.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you were one of the few that had DeSantis, right?
No. In Florida, by the way, the night before, the 2 polls on DeSantis and Scott had them both down 7. Just make sure people embrace this. In 18, they had them down a hard 7, the mainstream media. Right, and a gentleman on the phone, Mr. Barris, actually had you had the right call on that, did you not, sir?
We called Scott. The one thing we didn't do was get that Scott's margin was going to be a little bit less. We thought Scott's margin would be a little bit more, and I guess honestly, there's really nothing to attribute that to other than a social desirability bias. There were independents because we had him down by 4 in September, which seemed a little bit odd to us, even though we had Scott up by 1, and Scott's lead was pretty big at sometimes. 2 to 6 points was not uncommon, but yet DeSantis always seemed to be 3-4 points behind him, and in the end that did not happen. And when we look back at it, who are these people? No college degree, independent. They'll describe themselves as moderate or conservative, and this year, this cycle, these are the same voters who tell us they're not really comfortable during an interview, because we straight ask them, how comfortable are you sharing your political beliefs with these different groups of people and being truthful, such as how you intend to vote? And this is this group that comes back to us time and time again.
Let me just, I want to get back into the Wisconsin poll here in a second, but just a general overview. 138 million people basically voted in 2016. We had early on worked with a statistical analyst who said in 18, we're the guys that said, hey, we're going to lose the House in 18. That's why I ran around the country saying this is incredible, you got to stop it. But we had people back then right after 18 said, hey, it's going to be 150 million plus in 2020, given what they can do is getting, and that does not bode well for Trump, because somehow with the number of people that actually pass it would go to their just reward that voted in 16, which could be a couple of million or have gone to a nursing home or whatever. You go from 62.5 million back to 60. Somehow you got to find, I don't know, 10 million new Trump voters, or maybe more. So right now, as you see it, Texas is about to, this afternoon to cross where they were in 16. Just overall, in aggregate, where do you think we're going to come out in total vote count for the nation? And assume all the mail-in votes are certified, which they won't be. But I'm saying, where do you think the vote will be? Will it be 100? Will we get to 150 million? Do you think it'll be north of that, or are you projecting it'll be south of that?
At first, we were at 145, but looking at some of the stuff on the ground, not just that, but self-reporting, the certainty to vote. There's certain indicators we use in a likely voter model. It does look like we could come. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we did fall short of it, but we're upwards of possibility of about 157. That's the north end, though. That's the high end of the forecast range here.
You actually think you get to 150? You think you would not be shocked if we had 157 million votes?
I wouldn't. It's outstanding. Without this mail-in system, we wouldn't be looking at that at all. But it's possible now. We're starting to see some tapering off. That's why I'm pulling it back down a little bit. It wouldn't shock me to see it. That's the high end, but there is slowing down now. We look at Florida. In person has picked up, but mailing is slowing, and that's generally the pattern we've seen elsewhere as well. So it may be that everybody spent the gas in the beginning, and it'll start to taper off as we get to Election Day. But Trump needs that Election Day vote. That's important to say. He really does.
Well, the Election Day vote. I'm just trying to do some math here because we're crossing 50 million. We're crossing 50 million right now on the mail-ins. We're going to cross it. We could touch by Election Day, by the morning Election Day, we could be at 100 million people have already voted, right? That means two-thirds of the things already vote. Well, then even if you have an overwhelming game day, you got to be pretty set going into this thing. And I've always said, I know right now the issue is, are they cannibalizing, which Florida may look like a problem for the Democrats, are they cannibalizing their game day vote with the you break them into four quartiles or the four types of voters, the high propensity voters. Are they getting low propensity voters? That's still the open question of the analytics here. However, the Republican Party, and this has to be the last election this does, there's too much pressure on game day. There's too much pressure on game day. And I said the first thing you're going to see is governors in these Democratic states starting to shut down polling places because of COVID. And I saw last night that they're starting to restrict polling places. They're going to try to make game day as hard as possible, like in places like, I'm going to just randomly throw it up, Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or Michigan, because they understand that the vote on game day is going to be a heavy Trump vote, and they're going to want that 65-year-old veteran to stand in line for about 9 hours and see how much he really wants to vote for Trump. It's going to be a testing. That's going to be your struggle session. You're going to have a struggle session on Tuesday. Jack Maxey.
One thing I think that's missing from this whole thing, we remember urban America, many of them plan to vote on game day, right? This is the traditional way they do that. They get the churches together. They get people down to the polls. It's certainly the way it happens in Philadelphia. I'm imagining in many cities around the country. Let's remember, Lil Wayne just came out yesterday in support of Donald Trump. I know that, Raheem is laughing, but this guy...
you said Little Wayne.
Lil Wayne, I apologize. This guy is a hero to a lot of people of his generation.
And see what a cracker.
And also, let's remember something else. Lil Wayne comes from Atlanta. Atlanta is... Yeah, but he was recording in Atlanta, correct?
It's New Orleans, man. You're going to get blown up by these guys. Don't call a guy from New Orleans from Atlanta.
Well, that's where he did all his recording, and that's going to be a big
Jack
test.
Maxey,
Atlanta,
Yankee cracker. Okay, we're going to come back. Short break. Richard Barris will join us, come back, talk about his Wisconsin poll and all the other polls when we return in the War Room in a moment.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Feel like you live a lot of your life online? The average person is connected almost 7 hours a day. And all that shopping, banking, browsing, and sharing can mean exposing your personal information. In fact, 64% of adults admit to risking online privacy for convenience. Is it any wonder that 26% of people had malware on one of their devices? Or that there's a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds? Your digital life may be in lots of places, but there's one place to help keep it safe. Norton 360 with LifeLock. With security to help block hackers from your devices, a VPN to help keep your online activity private, and LifeLock identity theft protection. Now, you can get up to 25% off your first year of Norton 360 with LifeLock with promo code TV offer. Call to start your membership or visit lifelock.com/TV offer.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
On the John Frederick Radio Network nationwide, on Dish Channel 219 and Comcast Channel 113, through Real America's Voice out in Denver. Rob Sig and Howard Diamond doing a great job with John Solomon, rocking the house there. And, of course, Newsmax TV, Chris Ruddy and the guys down in Florida, down in Palm Beach, now in 70 million homes, plus G News and GTV, simultaneous broadcast in Mandarin through the firewall into mainland China, of course, for the diaspora of the whistleblower movement, the Free Chinese of the new federal state of China, all of it.
Hey,
so we welcome you.
Yankee cracker. Diaspora.
Diaspora. Diaspora, God.
I'm taking your side here.
No.
Get one back.
Don't get mopey on me, Jack. Who?
I get it.
No. He's mocking me for poor Jack hasn't slept in 3 days. He's walking around. He's got hard drives everywhere. He's so into Hunter Biden's life, right? He stays awake, but he just takes a hot shower.
Maxie, do you listen to a lot of Lil Wayne while you're going through the hard drive?
No, he listens to Little Wayne.
Little Wayne, Tiny Wayne.
I'm listening to Little Wayne.
Little Wayne from Atlanta. You understand? Here's the East Coast, West Coast, Crips and Bloods. I get you killed.
Here's the thing I love. I get corrected for mispronouncing Lil Wayne instead of Little Wayne, and Steve gets corrected for mispronouncing actually real words. Just so
Kaboom.
Just so we're clear.
Yale versus Harvard here. Of course, I just went to the trade school. Jackson
And also,
he was educated there.
And also, a little shout out to Lil Wayne. We know we'd be steady mobbing for Donald Trump, my brother.
Whoa! Boom! Hang on, I gotta tell you, Ice Cube, 50 Cent, you see it. Black males get the joke. Access the capital, economic opportunity. These guys are hardcore economic nationalists. They are. I've said this before. You get 20% of that vote. Game over.
Get rich or die trying.
You're gonna bring. You're gonna bring.
That's fitty.
Politico today has the story: the bottom's falling out of the Democrats in guess where? Miami-Dade. They are in panic mode. That the guys are not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore, and they may not be prepared. This is the big tell. They may not be prepared to come and vote for Trump. But they're not prepared.
Barris was number one on it. He was the first person that said that to me.
Barris, let's skip Wisconsin. I want to come back to you. Let's go to Florida because you're a Florida guy. Tell us what Politico has got the lead story this morning, and you know they've lit up all the campaign, the Biden campaign. What is going on in South Florida, sir?
Yeah, so it's about time they caught up, but it's something that takes time to make a movement like this. So Miami-Dade, we have it in the last poll that we did, it could shift anywhere from 9 to 11 points. I've heard some other projections. That's where our safe zone is. 9 to 11 points in Miami-Dade is huge, and there's a couple of things that are going on. And just
slow down. Hold on. People don't understand it. When you say shift 9 to 11 points, What are you talking about? 9, 11 points of what?
So Hillary Clinton took Miami-Dade in 2016 over Trump 64-34. And right now we have Trump consistently touching the 40, low 40s sometimes, and Biden in the mid to high 50s when he's lucky. That's bad. And there's a couple of things that are driving that.
Is that a small county, Richard? Is that a tiny rural county? Or is that, no, that's Miami.
But this goes back to what I said earlier. Let's remember, a vast number of the people who live in Miami-Dade County are Cubans. They know what happens when you get on a list. They are coming up to vote in person, and they are not telling anybody because they've been through this chaos
But is
before.
is this a Hispanic or Latino movement more than just Cubans or the sons and daughters of Cubans? Is he actually getting the Venezuelans that live there? Are there other Latinos and Hispanics that are hearing the message of Donald Trump?
Yeah, we had them at 70% among those new Venezuelan voters. We targeted them specifically for one of the polls. It was 70%.
Wow.
When we
Suck
averaged
on
it
that.
out,
Wow.
When we did some projections, I mean, he could net a new 48,000 votes. It's just from one demographic, and it's a big swing.
What Mitt Romney would give for 70% of the Venezuelans.
Well, what do they say? Experience is a stern master. These people have been through the chaos that the Democratic Party is promising for America if CCP, Trader Joe, the compromised person who has literally put every single American's life at risk. These people understand what's on the field today, because there's no other place that they can go if this country falls.
How does that play out? How does that play out in your analysis if he gets something with a 4 in front of it in Miami-Dade? How does that roll throughout the state? Where are you and where's your, because I'm getting sources that are actually guys are overseeing to make sure this early mail voting, and people are actually getting, they're not enthusiastic, but they're feeling okay, which is a big shift from a couple of weeks ago when there was like depressed. So what is your analysis showing you, Richard Barris?
So if he dips a few points, and usually the formula in Florida for a Republican is get 60% of the white vote, get 60% plus of the white vote. He doesn't have to do that at this point, which is probably good for him because we're not seeing that kind of, he's touching 58. So it's possible with the sampling errors, he does get that in the end. And we've seen Florida seniors do this to us in the past. They look like they're going to flirt with a Democratic candidate. Come election day, it winds up being a 10-point margin for the Republican anyway. So I think a major problem pollsters have, they're not oversampling Hispanics in Florida and getting good subsamples of each. We call it Latino.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to go back through this because you're breaking news here. Because if you cut on MSNBC and CNN all day long, all they're saying is Biden gets 40% of the white vote. bank it, right? Bank it. You're saying that their analysis is incorrect. Walk us back through why they're incorrect. For the audience that cuts on CNN and MSNBC and says all Biden's got to do is get 40, and he's north of 40 right now. Why is that wrong?
Yeah, so just like anything else in the world, when when one force acts on something, it usually causes something else to shift, right? Politics is not a vacuum. Coalitions don't shift in a vacuum. And if you're going to increase your Hispanic support like that in Florida, the way Trump has done, it's not just the new Venezuelans, new Cuban arrivals now that are eligible. We've been watching them on the voter file for 4 years, just tick higher and higher. And this is a group that is more solid for the president than some working class in the Midwest. So what they're missing is the addition of what could be a 6-figure vote change just in one region of the state. And by the way, a Democrat relying on it, I can't stress this enough, a Democrat relying on that white vote to come through for them in Florida is it's almost a fool's errand. We've seen this play out over and over. Alex Sink, Charlie Crist, over and over and over, and they end up shy at every turn. Obama didn't win the state because he won too much of the white vote. He won the state because he did juice African-American turnout when others didn't think that was going to happen, and Mitt Romney failed to get enough of the white vote out. They're not seeing that shift. And among the I-4 corridor, we have them up almost 10 points. 45% of the vote in the state comes from the I-4 corridor.
Well, I got that. That's evangelical. But what about the plus 65? This whole, and that, a lot of it, the villages, I think, are all up in the I-4 corridor. The I-4 corridor, the plus 65 vote, what they're telling us, there's an implosion for Trump because they think he's a super spreader and he doesn't care about COVID-19, which is their number one priority. What about the 65-year-olds?
Yeah, there was at some point some erosion. It depends on what state you're looking at. And in Pennsylvania, we still did not see them come back to Donald Trump in the numbers that he would really love to be able to carry that state. He's got newer, younger workers on his side balancing that out over there. But in the last poll we did in Florida, we still have him with seniors, about a 10-point lead with seniors. And that's okay as long as he does better with that 30 to 44 age group. And the biggest one, which is 45 to 64, which he also leads in. So he led in almost every age detail demographic when we polled our last poll. And this is typical of Florida. This is what happens. This is what I keep telling people a lot. It's kind of like Mitt Romney hoping to get a few more points of the black vote. In the end, as we get closer to Election Day, it evaporates and it shifts back. People flirt. They flirt.
I want to go to, by the way, the building blocks of victory here. You got to position yourself to be for the final strike. The positioning foundational elements are Ohio and Florida. If you can somehow, and that's how we knew we had a shot to take this in 16, not Florida, but the Ohio part of it. Walk me through Ohio. Where do you think we stand today in Ohio?
So in Ohio, the southeastern part of the state, I love polling Ohio because they're not as shy about their beliefs. Those are, working class Midwest people, and they're iron. So they're a little bit easier to poll than some of these other states. And we polled it twice this season, September, and then a couple of weeks later. It was so pro-Trump, we took it off the books. Raw data, for those who don't know, data collection when it's coming in, is always usually favorable to Democrats. Ohio was coming in raw Trump plus 10, and that was due in 16. I underestimated him there, and that was because that southeastern region of the state, I didn't believe the crossover numbers, and I didn't think they were going to be that much of the vote. I think it'll be closer than 16. Yep, it's Youngstown, and I didn't believe him, Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Bannon. Youngstown. You can't get enough of it. Okay, so the building blocks of what you're saying, Richard, as we go into the final weekend of Ohio and Florida, it looks like we've laid the foundation for a final strike to victory. When we come back, I want to go through the next tranche. You got to hold Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, and there's some problems there. And we're going to talk to Richard Barris when we return. I think one of the top, not just pollsters, but the guy that really understands the important thing. What electorate actually shows up to vote? We've got Jack Maxey. We have Raheem Kassam. We've got One America News' Jack Posobiec, also from the United States Navy and a naval intelligence officer. Richard Barris is be our guest when we come back. We're also going to have Ernie Priet, the guy who understands the state of Pennsylvania. I believe, as we see it right now, on the evening of the 3rd of November, it will come down to Pennsylvania, and it will specifically come down to Northeast Pennsylvania. When we return on War Room Pandemic.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus, it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes one too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance, but she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Our mission here is not to entertain you. Our mission here is to enlighten you so that you can make decisions financially, economically, for your family, for your life, and for your country. And that's what we try to do every day here in the War Room. Okay, I got Jack Posobiec, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon, joined by Richard Barris of Big Data Poll. We're going to have Ernie Priet on, a guy who knows Pennsylvania better than anybody, any living human being. We're going to bring him in a moment, but I want to go back to Richard. So, Richard, we've laid our foundation, as you see it, Ohio and Florida, right? And obviously Florida, everything's very tricky. Everybody's got to get out, do their duty this weekend. But let's go to the next 3, the 3 holds that are problematic: Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Let's start far west in Arizona. Arizona, and this is why Arizona has always worried me, the establishment. Some of the Mormon element out there follows Romney, follows Flake, big Mormon population out there, successful business people, and you've got Sidney McCain and the establishment out there detest Trump, actively working with the Lincoln Project. What is the story in Arizona as you see it today?
And they're 7%. That's it's too, a little bit too close for Trump's comfort. We do have him ahead there, but it's light. and there's not a lot of room for error. He's benefiting because there's this group, and this is something McSally would love to have on her side, but she doesn't have them yet. There's this group of independents. They're moderate to moderately conservative. They have no college degree, and they're white. They love Trump, and they're going for him by 29 points. They don't like McSally and don't typically like Republicans. They may sit it out, or they may go for Mark Kelly. We don't know yet. It's about even with them. But Trump has a base issue. It's really what you were just talking about. Those people represent about 7%. And Democrats in the state of Arizona, almost no crossover. It's something we very rarely see, where maybe he'll get 6% if he's lucky, 5%. So he really doesn't have a lot of room for error. Maricopa, the most populous county, is close. We have it closer than others, but we do have it where Trump probably lose it by a couple of points, and he's really got to romp it out in Yavapai and the rest of the state, which we are showing he will. He outperforms McSally in those areas by several points.
Let's go to Georgia. Georgia's one of the people, everybody's nervous about Georgia. Walk us through Georgia.
So Georgia, those Atlantic suburbs, they're growing, and that's why it's getting closer. And, I think they put a really big and best foot forward in 2018 to take that state. I think we're looking at about 3 to 5 points there. Closer than it should be, but the state is changing.
You're saying a 3 to 5 point victory?
Yeah, I think Trump's going to take it in the end. I think Trump's going to take it in the end. There's some counties.
The only thing that worries me, people forget Stacey Abrams in 18 got more votes than Hillary Clinton got. I mean, she is tough, and she's got that ground game group. She's got put $10 or $15 million into.
Rich, what's the effect of all the crazy Senate stuff in Georgia on the presidential race? You've got sort of like 2 campaigns, 3 campaigns, if depending on how you look at it, going on all at once.
And I think that's why you saw Biden go there, too. I mean, they've been convincing, the Democrats, they've been convincing big donors for many years that with just mass voter registration, they can take the state of Georgia. That's what Stacey Abrams sold to them as well in 18, and she lost. So she went the voter suppression route, even though the evidence shows that's ridiculous. She got as many as she could to the polls in a midterm. The effect is, people, there's a point where they almost get desensitized, but because they know which candidate stands with whom on the presidential ballot, it does have an impact. I think that I take a different view. I think Trump is actually lucky that Purdue is on the ballot over there, because it may help him a little bit in some areas. Right. We looked at Eastern Georgia in particular. Kemp left some votes on the table there that it does not look like Trump is going to leave those votes on the table. They're going to vote.
Let's go to North Carolina. In 16, North Carolina was one that I was incredibly nervous about. It was Mark Meadows that said, hey, we got this, right? And it's going to be the evangelical turnout. But Meadows had his hand on it. I was nervous right after the thing. In fact, we didn't go back when Mark said, you don't need to come back. We got this. And he says the evangelicals were turning out massively. We're going door to door. Where do you stand right now, Richard, about North Carolina?
Right. So we're having a real COVID scare over here. Same thing with Wisconsin. And we see that their concerns about coronavirus are increasing. So that doesn't help Donald Trump. It certainly is closer. But if you look at the early vote, and I always caution people, don't try to read the tea leaves. Republicans are doing a little bit better than they did in 16. But they did better in 18 comparatively, and they didn't do very well. So it will come down to those independents. Pollsters, this is a state where pollsters have a real hard time, media pollsters in particular. They don't understand the crossover Democrat, the swing vote Democrat. That's an older Democrat that, probably Mark Meadows knows all about. They'll vote for Governor Cooper over Dan Forest, but they will not vote, Democrat at the presidential level. And there's some goodwill that's still there that remains. I think in the end, that trend line is headed in the right direction for the president. So I think he's going to take North Carolina, but I don't think it's going to be a 4 or 5 point margin like I hear others say. We're looking at two points.
So it's like 16. What about, can he drag Tillis across the goal line like he dragged Burr? Burr was a terrible candidate. Can he drag Tillis? Tillis no great shakes either. Can he drag Tillis across the goal line?
He can. And Tillis is no stranger to not leading in public polls. He didn't lead in a single public poll in 2014. All the media polls at Kay Hagan, 7 to 15 points. Some of them, they were out of the world of reality. But in the end, Tillis he's not a great candidate. But if Donald Trump can pull him across the scandal that really is they're trying to sell as a family issue that has hurt Cunningham here. We got some great Democratic sources. He was once enjoying a 6-8 point lead in their polling, and that evaporated 2 weeks ago. They had him at 1-2 points, which for a political campaign, they're trying to paint it as rosy as they can. So that race is headed in Tillis' direction, I'd say. It's going to be close. Okay. A lot of money, man, but I think it's heading in his direction.
Richard Barris's Big Data poll. He's going to stay with us. We're going to bring in now Ernie Preet because we're going to go now to how do you get to victory. But this ain't easy, right? Like I said, there's you got it tough but doable. Ohio and Florida are your foundational elements. Then you hold Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. Each one's got its own issues, right? Got to pull 4 games. Then you got to get one of Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. And if it's Wisconsin, you got to bring in Maine 2 and Nebraska 2, which is Nebraska 2 is problematic. But I want to go to Pennsylvania and Ernie Preet. Ernie, I've been all over local radio up there, local TV. Mayor Giuliani has also. I consider the Keystone State just like in 16. I said, hey, this is the key that's going to pick the lock right here. Where do you stand? Nobody knows this state better than you. Where do we stand today, starting the weekend, with Donald Trump's campaign? What do you think Donald Trump's chances are? Where is he strong? Where is he weak in Pennsylvania?
Trump is strong all across the state, except in the Philadelphia suburbs and in Philadelphia itself. Let's look at a couple of things. In 4 years, the Republicans have outregistered the Democrats by 100,000. So the deficit going into this is from 800,000 Democrats plus to 700,000. That's significant. And a lot of that was taking place outside of Philadelphia, outside of Allegheny County, in the areas in northeastern Pennsylvania in particular. This is where he won. He won the election in northeastern Pennsylvania 4 years ago because he cut into Clinton's registrations here, which are 2 or 3 to 1, and he not only cut into them, he won. He won Luzerne County, Wilkes-Barre, and Hazleton. He won that by 29,000 votes. He lost Lackawanna County, which is Scranton, Hillary's hometown, like it's Biden's hometown. He lost that one by Lackawanna County by 2,500 votes. And that was the difference, 44,000. If Trump didn't win Luzerne County, didn't knock down the 30,000 that normally the Democrats get in Lackawanna County, Hillary would have been the president. Right now, the big thing here, the big issue here is freedom versus lack of freedom. Is lockdown versus non-lockdown. I hear it all the time, more and more. I'm not going to go lockdown again. I'm not giving up my job. I'm going to fight. I'm going to resist. It's my livelihood. It's my family. And so Biden has become the lockdown candidate. Trump has become the freedom candidate. He is the guy that wants to keep people in their jobs. Yeah, there are risks involved, but people are telling me they want to take those risks. And it's reflected across the state. Trump had some rallies here. He had rallies on Monday in Allentown, Lidditz, which is Lancaster County, and Martinsville, which is out in Altoona, Johnstown. There were 50,000 people combined at those rallies. That's amazing. That's John F. Kennedy stuff. And when Biden has an event here, he has 250 people show up. On the other hand, the word gets out on Facebook, and there are 2,000 Trumpers that show up to protest his being here. And that's happened time again.
Ernie, we're pressed for time. I want to go back to something, though. In Northeast Pennsylvania, are you saying right now, as you see it, and this is Joe Biden, remember, folks, Joe Biden's the candidate because they wanted to sell Joe from Scranton, okay? That's why a guy that was 5th in Iowa and 4th in New Hampshire became the nominee. The Democratic money wanted a neoliberal neocon that could take Northeast Pennsylvania. However, Mr. Ernie Preet, They thought they were coming out of Pennsylvania, out of Philadelphia, with 850,000 net votes in 16. They came out with 500,000. In the suburbs, we fought to a standstill in the suburbs. That's all changed. What do you think right now that they're going to come out of Philadelphia with net, and what's going to happen with the Karens in the Philadelphia suburbs?
Well, the big thing that's happening, I think, and you have to recognize, is this shift in the Democratic Party of people of color moving perceptively to Trump, and that's upwards of 15% in the black community, maybe 25% in the Hispanic community. Whoa!
What do you? Are you saying in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania, you anticipate that 15% of the African American community is going to vote for Donald J. Trump for president of the United States?
That's correct. That's correct.
This is just not guys. Remember, the difference between the 500,000 and the 850 is guys that weren't prepared to vote for Trump, but they weren't prepared. They were not going to vote for the Clinton neoliberal neocon. They heard enough of it and not going to vote. So it's a big difference between not voting, just saying, "Hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give him my vote, but I can't vote for Trump because the guy gets, I just don't agree with the way he rolls." You're saying it's different. You're saying you think he's going to get 15% of the black vote in all of Pennsylvania?
Yes. Yes, he's
okay.
He got 8% 4 years ago. He's going to get 15% now. Plus, he's going to get more of the Hispanic vote.
Okay, I got to jump at the last thing. Real quickly, the Philadelphia suburbs. The Philadelphia suburbs. How bad is he going to get beat up in the Philadelphia suburbs?
He's going to lose the Philadelphia suburbs. He lost it by 3% last time. He's going to lose it by 8% this time. The question is that shift in the voting of the people of color and the black and Hispanic people to him, is that going to offset the losses that he has in the suburbs surrounding Philadelphia?
Okay.
He's making it up in the central part of the state and in the western part of the state.
Yes or no? We got to jump. Yes or no? Is Trump going to win Pennsylvania? Yes or no?
Yeah, he's going to win it. He's going to eke it out.
Ernie Priat, have you back on hopefully in the special tomorrow and then over the weekend. We're going to take a break. That guy knows Pennsylvania better than anybody. We're going to go back to Richard Barris when we return to discuss Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, the northern blue wall that we pierced in 16. Can Trump do it again?
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
Go to MyPillow.com or call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
I can sleep all night through, and it's a miracle for me.
Mike's exclusive 3-layer design starts with a layer of MyPillow foam, providing you superior support and comfort. The second layer of transitional foam evenly distributes body weight and helps relieve uncomfortable pressure points for optimal comfort. Mike's ultra soft outer layer is a patented temperature-regulating cover that helps keep you at your ideal sleeping temperature all night long. Unlike other sleep systems costing thousands, the MyPillow mattress topper takes comfort to a whole new level without any wires, remotes, or moving parts. Call now or go to MyPillow.com to order your MyPillow topper. Use the promo code to save 30%. When you do, Mike will give you 2 of his standard MyPillows absolutely free. That's right, 2 standard MyPillows free and 30% off your MyPillow topper today. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Hello, I'm William Shatner, and you may not know this about me, but years ago, I was diagnosed with a sleep disorder.
And like millions of others, I was prescribed sleep equipment. Did you know sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning? That's why I use SoClean 2. It's the perfect complement to my daily routine, and it's hassle-free. SoClean 2 is fast and easy. It keeps my sleep equipment fresh every day without the need for disassembly. To keep the immune system strong, we should do everything we can to ensure a good night's sleep, including using the SoClean 2 daily to keep sleep equipment fresh. Try SoClean 2 risk-free for 30 nights. Order now and get $50 off. SoClean 2 is so fast and gives you peace of mind that your sleep equipment is fresh each time you use it. Call the number on your screen or go to SoClean2.com to take advantage of this risk-free trial and get $50 off. Call now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, by popular demand, we're going to have a call-in show, our Vox Populi, that's Voice of the People, today from 3 to 6, 888-480-5646. Write it down, 3 to 6. We're going to
Hang on, do that again, because people are complaining you're reading it too quickly.
888-480-5646. Be on the John Friedrich Radio Network. We may be doing the National Pulse. We're trying to figure this all out, but just make sure you're online. Get us, YouTube, get us. Probably be up on Real America's Voice. The team over there is trying to pull it together. But we got a Vox Populi. John Fredericks is going to be here. Jack Maxey. We have Raheem Kassam, if we can get him off his show. And we want to hear from you throughout the world. Last time we had calls from all over the world. Okay, we got Richard Barris, big data poll, one of the smartest guys around. Take us. You just heard Ernie Priet, who knows who's a practical politician, has won statewide, was a former attorney general of Pennsylvania, knows the state better than anybody. Huge Trump guy. Right, has a daughter that's kind of a quasi-Trump person. His two daughters are great. They are Pennsylvania. Richard, is Ernie Priet right? Was his analysis going around the state correct?
Yeah, I was listening to him, and I agree with a lot with what he said. We polled the state several times in the last couple of months. So the last one we have now is dead even. And, one poll, you see something, that's a little bit funny, and you could think it's noise. Two polls, you see something, and it repeats itself, then maybe it's not noise. Three polls, it's a trend. He's right about the African-American vote in the state of Pennsylvania. So the question is, will they go out and vote, right? We had him no lower than 14%. This last poll actually ticked a little bit higher. It's not out of the realm of possibility. George W. Bush did well with black voters in Pennsylvania in 2004. It is possible with a working class message. So there is some offsetting of the white vote. He's going to get slaughtered in the southeastern part of the state, in the suburbs. Bucks looks like now in the third poll, I'm pretty confident to say Bucks is probably going to widen out a little bit. He's actually doing a little bit better in northern Chester, but it will come down to whether Joe Biden can peel votes back in northeastern Pennsylvania. I do not think the western swing Democrat is going back to Joe Biden. His no college, white working class margin widened out in our last poll. It didn't shrink. We would have expected it to shrink if it was going to. And we're calling them the northeastern battlegrounds, Monroe, Lackawanna, and Luzerne. Trump has got a very big margin in Luzerne. Monroe looks like it's going to go. If he takes another visit, maybe just needs a little nudge. He barely lost it last time. That looks like it's trending. Luzerne or Lackawanna was a pretty strong area for Biden, a couple of points better than Clinton. Now it tightened up again. So Biden's going to hold it. He's going to hold it. Yeah, it is key, but it's a matter of how big if Biden holds it.
That's Scranton.
Big. Scranton. That's why it's Jefferson. Okay, real quickly, what do you think he comes out net out of Philadelphia? Because remember, the difference between the 500,000 they got and the 850 they thought they were going to get, therein lies 4 times our victory margin, right? Where do you put Philadelphia today?
Philadelphia alone, I think, Trump in the county of Philadelphia, it could tick a little bit higher because there's 2 wards there that are appearing to be a little bit more pro-Trump. And some of that, most of the African-American increase, it's not coming from Philadelphia. Some of it is, but it's really working class African-Americans around the rest of the state. I think really the danger is those suburbs. So I think Biden's he's gonna eclipse Clinton's margin in some of these burbs, and it's gonna get really ugly in Delaware and Montgomery. That margin, I'm probably in the 6s.
How far? Where do you have Pennsylvania? All the other polls have him down 7 points, 8 points, 6 points, 9 points. Where do you put him in Pennsylvania today on Friday morning?
Yeah, it's dead even. They're deadlocked at about 47.5, the two of them. And we have Trump at 46.5 actually, and Biden at 47.2. But that's almost a 3-point movement to the president over 2 weeks. So we just polled it 2 weeks before, and it was Biden +3 almost.
Real quickly, Michigan. Where do we stand in Michigan? Michigan, I'm seeing polls. He's down 6 points, 8 points, 7 points. Where do we stand in Michigan?
Michigan, another tough state to poll. Not the worst one. Wisconsin, definitely the worst one to poll. But Michigan's close. It was closer than I thought. We just dropped that a day or so ago, and I thought it looked, when I was glancing at the raw, it looked like a Biden +6, but it wasn't. And that is because Biden is underperforming in some of the rural areas that I thought he would do a little bit better in. The Oakland-Macomb is almost a draw between the two. Biden was leading by 5. That's it. Monroe was going stronger for Trump. It's just that that's a hard state for Trump to hold.
Macomb is the home of the Reagan Democrats. If we won there. If he can't win there, he can't win Michigan.
Can I just interject, Rich? Pull a little Amy coming back here. Do you have any notes in front of you right now?
No.
Or you're doing this all off the top of your head?
Yeah.
County to county, state by state.
This guy.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this. When we're crunching these numbers, before I put these polls out, people are always busting my chops. When's it coming out? When's it coming out? But I look at everything with a magnifying glass. So that Oakland-Macomb margin, I probably looked at that for an hour and a half, Jack. I mean, if it's a draw almost between those two, it's a big difference in the vote share,
But if Trump, you agree, if Trump cannot win Macomb County, he's not going to win Michigan, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's up in Macomb. It's whether or not he can offset Oakland, because Oakland is.
Oh, okay, fine. Yes. Where do you have him up in? How much you have him up in Macomb right now?
Right now, he's touching 56%, and if my sampling error is off, then he's right where he needs to be. Yeah. So maybe he does a little bit better than last time.
We got 30 seconds. Wisconsin. Where do you put him in Wisconsin?
The burbs are not a problem in Wisconsin the way they are everywhere else. And he's actually leading in Kenosha, which is stunning to me. I thought he'd be down in Kenosha, and that was going to tell the story. But if you ask them what's their important issue, it's policing, crime, and safety. And the rest of the state is coronavirus and the economy. So it's a battle on turnout there.
Richard Barris, Big Data Poll. What's your Twitter handle, sir?
@peoples_pundit.
Amazing. Look forward to having you back. Audience loves it. It's on fire. You're a lit brother. Okay, Richard Barris. Right there. That's the way you break down stuff, right? That is a guy into the details, into the granularity. We're going to be back at 3 o'clock, 3 to 6, globally, to take your calls. Okay? What is it? 888-480-5646. I'll have as much of the crew here as possible. We're announcing a major election night global coverage from the most stunning location in all of Washington, D.C. John Franks will also be there with us. I want to thank Jack Posobiec and the team over at One America. Jack Maxey working like 9 days in a row. We're going to see you tomorrow morning. We'll see you this afternoon at 3, and then tomorrow morning at 10 on an election special. Tomorrow morning, 10 to noon. Don't miss it.